everybody. Happy Monday. Well, it's actually Sunday now, but you're all going to be watching this tomorrow. So happy Monday. For those of you who are here after watching the first two episodes, welcome back. We're glad that you're enjoying our PALAKwento so far. And for those of you who have yet to watch those episodes, then you can head on over to our Facebook or YouTube pages where all these episodes are uploaded. Right. So before we introduce our guests for tonight, just to give some context to our new viewers or first time viewers, PALAKwento is a talk show where we discuss anything and everything Filipino landscape architecture. Right. So we're going to be inviting some Filipino landscape architects just for like a quick chat, like a really casual chat. And tonight specifically, we are going to be talking to some Filipino landscape architects about the practice of the profession abroad, specifically in Australia. So without further ado, let's welcome in our guests, landscape architects Jojo Navarro, Alexandra Aldaba, and Marsha Horan. Hello, you guys. Good evening.
Hello.
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 How's everyone doing? How is life down under?
It's cold.
Yeah.
Cold?
At the moment. It's at the moment, yeah.
Cold, and we're still in lockdown. So yeah.
Same here, actually. Yeah, but I hope things are better where you guys are compared to here in the country. No, not really.
Less cases, and I think the government's controlling it better. So there's that. But yeah, hopefully everyone, in the place, all the places improves that we can fly home. Because I haven't been home in like 2.5 years, but yeah.
Oh, that must be bad. Yeah, obviously, we just all want to get out of this cool predicament, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm hearing some accents that I assume that you've picked up over the years. So, Alex, I want to hear you drop your Aussie accent.
I can say a couple
already?
of words. I can say some words, and that's really just to blend in. But otherwise, I don't think I picked up anything. I can say water. Yeah, basically they don't say their R's, but that's it.
That you haven't quite picked it up yet, then.
No, and I don't think I will, because I don't know about you guys, but there are actually a lot of people who came here from other countries, so it's not everyone who speaks with the accent, so I don't stick out too much, so I don't feel pressured to pick it up. But yeah.
No, you don't have to have the accent anyway.
I think it's something that just naturally occurs, right? But yeah, anyway, so before we dive into the questions for this evening, I think we should do introductions first, just so we could get to know you guys better, especially our viewers, since they haven't really had the opportunity to meet you yet. So if you could maybe introduce yourselves really quickly and answer the question, kung halaman ka, kailan ka huling nadiligan? Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Medyo iba yung naisip ko doon.
You may opt to answer that question, but an alternative question would be, maybe you could tell us a brief story of how you got to Australia or why you're doing your practice there. So anybody want to go first?
Let's do it chronological order.
We don't want to do that, Alex.
No, you don't want to.
It's all right. I think I came here first before Joe.
Yeah.
Before Joe Nav. Let's call him Joe Nav from now on. Because it's more edgy. We came here in back in 97. So, but it took me but 9 months before I could find a job, a real job, a landscape architectural job. So I started in a local government. So, and then I've been working in local government for about 24 years now. So until recently. So I've been but I went to 3 different councils anyway. So I came here as it was back then there was this visa where you can get sponsored by your relatives. Back then in the 90s, they've changed that now. So that's a lot more strict now. But before, if you had, I think now they have skilled migration now. But before, it's easier to come in, get sponsored by your relos. If you have skills, and that you speak really good English and you can write really good English and you can come in. But yeah, it took me a while to find like a landscape architectural job. So I actually started in South Australia. So I stayed in South SA before, and then looked for a job there, and it was, I think at that time it wasn't the job market wasn't that good back then in South Australia. So I had to move to Sydney because I had relatives here as well. So and eventually found a job here. So
And
and then
landscape
went
architecture.
from there. Yeah, went from there. So yeah, life story.
Thank you for sharing.
No
No, but yeah,
problem.
By the
I
way,
did I did pick up some questions, but I'm gonna ask it later. So yeah, Sir Jojo, how about you? What's your story?
yeah, good. By the way, if you're not familiar with the Aussie lingo, Marsha's saying relos, those are like relatives,
Relative,
right?
Relatives.
relative. But I'm
Yeah,
sure they can
yeah,
pick it up, Joe.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so my story is different. I didn't plan to go here, but in actually 1998, when I was working with Empire East, which is Mega World, same company
Uh-huh.
as Mega World. My aunt asked me to go here for a 1 month vacation. That was 1998,
Mm.
just to see, if I'll, like it here. So I went here, and then she asked me to apply for, yeah, just send my CV, see if if I could get a response. And the thing is, I got an interview right then, and I didn't even have like a sample of works, but I went to the interview, and then yeah, just to get an experience on how it was, applying here, and then I went back. My son at the time was only 1 year old, so still continued to work in the Philippines until 2001 when we decided to apply. It's like Marsha, my aunt sponsored me, but I have to apply for a skilled
Skill
visa.
migration.
So yeah, luckily I got approved. It was like a few months, and then so I started like applying like November or something, and then we got by January we're already doing medical, and then we moved here June of 2001, and it took me 2 months to get a job, which is funny because so I didn't know any any firm. I just sent my CV to all the LA firms that I know. I was just looking through the, yellow pages at that time, yellow
Yep. Same
pages,
thing. Same thing.
or
Yeah.
yeah, or is it
It's the
white
same thing.
pages? Yeah, and then I sent my CV, and then I got also got because here they have like agents
Mm.
where you could send your CVs and they'll try to help you look for a job. And then one told me that I got an interview, and that firm, my first interviews. No, actually, no, it's not my first interview. I got another one, but the one that who hired me was the one who interviewed me in 1998. I didn't even
Oh.
realize that until yeah, it's funny. It's the same. And during the interview, they mentioned IP Santos, which is a good thing because I work with IP Santos, and the director knew who IP was because I think they did some or did like a tender bid here in the Philippines, and one of their firms was IP, so they knew about him being like one of the pioneers here.
Mm.
So that I think that's an advantage having worked with IP. So that's my first job, and that was 2000 when I've been to different companies now. Uh, but yeah, that was my story.
Thank you for sharing your story. But it's the part where you mentioned it was the same person, but was it the same company or
Yeah, it's the same company, and I
Mm.
same
didn't.
company? Oh,
Yeah, but I
you
didn't
didn't
know because
remember.
in 1990, I didn't even remember the
Mm.
name of the company, but during the
Yeah.
interview, that's when I realized because the same director who interviewed me. Uh,
Maybe you
so
were
that's
just
what I
really
realized.
meant.
It's funny, right? Yeah. So that's
Maybe you're
good.
meant to work there.
I know.
How about you, Alex? What made
uh,
you make the move?
So I guess we all have slightly different stories. So for me, it was because my partner is a UP engineering graduate, and UP engineering graduates, they have this special work visa to come to Australia and get a job and work here. So that's the only reason I even thought of Australia. And then so I came the first time I came to visit him. We had a look around and it was really nice, and I really liked the work-life balance and everything, so we decided to try and apply. And actually ended up becoming the main applicant because landscape architecture was on their list of jobs in demand. And then
Right.
about a year and a half later, we got the invitation. It actually came a week after our wedding, so I remember feeling so elated, and it felt like a wedding gift, and I was just so
Yeah, yeah.
happy. And then yeah, so we came here, and um yeah, we got that invitation to apply for a permanent resident visa, and then we came here and tried it out. And like Marsha and George, or more like Marsha, it was really difficult to find work at first.
Yeah.
I actually work as a sustainability consultant, so it's sort of related to landscape architecture, and I work with landscape architects too. Um, but yeah, they really look for people with local experience. So I remember before I got the job that I'm currently in, I worked as a fundraiser. So I was walking on the streets and like, oh, hey, come talk to me and I'm going to sell you something. And it was really
Yeah.
difficult, but it's just something that I had to do to get by. And then eventually things fell into place. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's great hearing, like how everyone's stories turned out great anyway. Despite the struggles of like having a hard time looking for the job that you really wanted, right? Or at least a job that's related to what you wanted to practice. So it's great to know that everyone's in a good place, especially despite this whole pandemic going on. But yeah, so listening to everyone's story, obviously, Alex, you've had some experience here in the Philippines, and Sir Jojo too. Um, Marsha, I didn't quite catch if you were able to do some practice here in the Philippines, or
Yes.
did you
Yeah.
get to go right away?
Yeah. So
Oh,
local
okay.
government. So I've been in
Oh, government here.
local
Uh-huh.
government in here in Australia.
Oh,
So
okay.
councils. So councils.
So,
That's
but
basically what I meant. Yeah. To practice
sorry.
as a
So,
landscape architect. Yeah.
but what about here in the
Oh,
Philippines?
in
Like
the
before you
Yeah,
moved to Australia.
I worked at the Department of Environment and
Hmm.
Natural Resources. So it was in the Parks and Wildlife Bureau, and
Okay.
the office is in Nino Aquino. If you're familiar with Nino Aquino Parks,
Yeah.
so that's where the office was. So it was really nice. It was in the park, and you've got the rescue center there, so you can really
Is this the
yeah.
one
So
in Quezon City?
yes, Quezon City. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the
That's
one.
the one with the pretty lake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I worked there before, but it was, as a landscape architect, but a bit more of, because it's Department of Environment, so it was more about
Mhm.
policies
Mhm.
and education. So it was a bit
Right.
more of that. It was not a lot of design involved
Right.
in that, but yeah, but it was a good experience because I got to travel around the Philippines while I
Hmm.
was there, because you get to go and have a look at logging bans, moratoriums, and things like that, and look at other projects in other parts of the country. So that
Hmm.
was good. Yeah, it was sad leaving that job because I was having fun and I was young.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Traveling
yeah,
while you're young, right?
I know I was in my early 20s. I can go everywhere. I can like crawl through caves, which is one of the things that we did was
So
the
you
cave
always work
survey.
in
Yeah.
government, Marcia.
So
Mm.
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
have been. Yeah, I know.
Mm.
Sucker for punishment.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but the question I did want to ask in relation to that is like, what are the valuable lessons you picked up during your job here locally here in the Philippines that you were able to bring with you there and apply it there in Australia, if
Oh,
any?
good question. Uh, I reckon perseverance. I think that's more of it. Yeah, perseverance. The sort of continuously learning. So it's kind of making yourself familiar with what's new, and especially environmentally, as well as like what's happening out there. A bit more of an environmental sort of education. But it's because I moved into when I came here, it was local government, so it's a different focus basically. So I think it was probably it's a bit more of maybe the graphic side of things that I did for PALB before because we were doing a lot of educational materials.
Mhm.
So more of that I kind of sort of put a bit into practice when I started at local government. Apart from that, it's I'd say it's not a lot I could have brought over because it is different field. It's like different
Yeah,
fields basically. Yeah,
right. Like it's in government, but it's different. Like the
it's
policies
different.
are
Yeah,
different.
different. Yeah,
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 right.
and
How
just
about
to
you?
add, yeah, just to add to what Marsha was saying, it's like it's gonna be slightly different. So I think something that I learned in the Philippines that I was able to bring here was just being resilient, and because it's not easy to move to a foreign country where everything is unfamiliar and you have to say goodbye to
Yeah,
most of what made life sort of easy. So you just put one foot in front of the other and keep doing what you can, and eventually things become good.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
How
yeah.
about you, Sir Jojo? Do you have anything you wanna add to
Yeah,
that?
for me naman, my experience in the Philippines really helped me in transitioning here because as I've said, I've been working since 89 with IP Santos. I stayed there for about 5 years, then moved to a landscape contractor, which is BGC.
Oh.
Then work for a developer, which is Empire East, and then another. So Empire East is like the horizontal uh, development company, horizontal residential development of Mega World. Mega World was doing all the high rises, and then I also
Mhm.
work for another developer, which is who did the Essenza Towers in Fort Bonifacio. So the thing is, yeah, I've worked with different fields of the
Yes.
profession. So from design firm IP Santos to a landscape contractor doing site works and project management. I've actually learned a lot doing that. That's why I like doing construction detailing. And then yeah, working for a developer, you're on the owner side, which is different. So it helped me, to do those uh, the
Mhm.
different aspects of the profession. So you'll be like an all rounder. So it's a
Right.
good
And
experience.
I mean, obviously, with your story earlier, how you got the interview in the first place. I
Yeah.
mean, right. So,
Yeah,
um,
I guess it helped. Yeah, yeah, with my different experience in the Philippines. Yeah.
yeah, right. So, well, so just to add to that, obviously, moving it's a very big decision, like Alex mentioned. Having to uproot your whole life, how comfortable it was here, and really explore new territory elsewhere. So, what would you say were like the biggest challenges or maybe adjustments that you had to make when you made the move? Whether it be personal or professional, up to you. But yeah, just if you want to share what the biggest challenge for you was.
Uh, for I'll go. Happy to go ahead,
Yeah,
Alex,
Alex.
Alex.
Yeah.
it looks like you
For
have
me,
something to share.
yeah. So for me, I think working with people of different nationalities was very different from working with mostly Filipinos. Just constantly being aware of other people's cultures and respecting them, and yeah, learning to adjust to that, and because I'll stop here. I might say something I shouldn't.
Yeah, we don't want to have to delete any part of this video. But okay, thank you. So do you find yourself still struggling with that now, or do you think you've made better adjustments in that aspect?
Yeah, I think so. And I was very nervous at first because the people here are very confident and very outspoken, and like not all Filipinos are, but I'm generally a bit on the shy side.
Yeah.
So I
Parehas
had
tayo.
to so I had to find a way to be
That's it.
able to speak out more and to let my ideas be heard. And I think that comes with confidence as well. So I'm slowly becoming more confident in what I do. So I'm able to speak out more and better, I guess.
Yeah.
I
And you'll
see.
find that they're a bit more accommodating. Did you find that they're a bit more
Yeah.
accommodating with that? Yeah. So
If you
it's
open
easy.
yourself up more.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
sometimes I was
Yeah.
scared of them for no reason because they're very nice and they're a lot more they're a lot more sensitive than Filipinos. Like they're just very considerate.
All right, like sensitive in a
Mm.
sense where they're more careful with like the
Yeah,
people
they're more
around.
aware of other people's cultures and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, okay. Yes, sir. Sir Zola, I think you had something to say or to add earlier,
Yeah.
did
Well,
you? About
uh,
being shy.
yeah, yeah, that's something that I'm struggling to change because all my life I'm just a reserved, quiet.
Mm.
I like working, but especially working in a multidisciplinary company like ACOM and the company that I'm working now, Orbis, you have to deal with different uh, business units or different teams. So like engineers, architects, planners, urban designers. So yeah, you need to you have to learn how to coordinate more. It's not just even if you can do project by yourself. You
Mm.
Yeah.
need to you need to learn how to even delegating work, things like that.
Mm.
Yeah. So
So
you
y- but yeah, it's something that I can't change. I'm still relatively
you're still
quiet in
pretty
the
shy.
office. Yeah, but sometimes, especially in the meeting, if you have to say something,
Mm.
then yeah, you need to. But I'm not the type who just speak just for the sake of
Mm.
speaking, saying something. So yeah, but on personal level, when we move here, I think it's easier for me to adjust because I have my family.
Mm.
Probably
Mm.
it's hard
It was
if
some
I have
sort
to
of
go
like
here
a
by myself. Yeah,
Mm.
because
yeah,
I
you
have
have
my
like a
wife and my
buffer.
son. Yeah, and also I
Yeah,
have relatives here to support me. But yeah, so I think it's easier for me. Yeah.
was it the same for you, Miss Marsha? No, like you mentioned you also had family when you moved there. So, or was it different? Like, did you find it difficult adjusting?
Um, the not adjusting, not really. I think because I was sort of open minded about
Mm.
what's going to be out there. I knew it was going to be different. And I knew there was going to be a culture shock, so there was a
Mm.
bit of a culture shock.
Mm.
And
You
but yeah,
expected
kind
it.
of prepared for that mentally. Because the language is different. I mean, they speak English, but it's different English. So you
Mm.
had to
Yeah,
sort of pick
accent.
up
Yeah.
on
Mm.
the accent. That was one thing. And in South Australia, they have a bit more of a thicker accent than in Sydney. So it was,
Okay.
that was sort of my, baptism of fire kind of thing. Because, sort of going, what, sorry, excuse me. There was a lot of that. And I'm
I
going, oh
know.
no, I probably sound like an idiot. But um,
Same.
you kind of, you sort of slowly kind of get into the accent anyway. And say, and then, sort of pick it up
Mm.
as
Right.
well as you go, and the sort of terminologies as well, like Bob's your uncle, and you kind of go, but I don't have an uncle named Bob, but it's one of those things, and it's an expression. So there's a few
Right.
expressions here that you kind of go, oh, okay, that you learn, and you go, oh, that's what it means, or fair dinkum. those sort of things. So you do learn, you pick them up. But it was so the other thing was everyone thought that I was from America because I had when I started here I had like the Filipino English accent as we're told. You say water,
Yeah.
and then every time and then we go, oh, you're from America, and I just sort of that annoyed me. Because no, I'm not. I'm from Philippines. I'm Filipino, and that sort of thing. So I had to sort of really like consciously change the accent and say it as they do. So then the communication's better. But you don't have to. I mean, that was my choice. You don't have to about it. But it was one thing that I noticed before, and maybe it's in South Australia. I don't know. I'm not dissing the state because we're in New South Wales. It's the whole when they see you, and back then I was kind of young and naive and everything. And you walk around and someone says, "Can you speak English?" They ask you if you can speak English just because of what you look like.
Right. You look different.
Because I look like I may not be able to speak, and it's one of those things. I don't know if Jojo had that experience, but there's not in professional sort of environment you don't get that, but outside you actually do.
Yeah,
So,
like when you're walking out in the street.
Walking down the street or whatever, someone was like, "Do you speak English?" You just kind of walk away.
Is that a common thing for everyone here? Has that
I've
happened
never
to you?
experienced that actually. It's funny sometimes when I see Chinese and they talk to me in Chinese, as if I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even look like
There we go.
Chinese.
I guess that's
Yeah,
your market.
Yeah, I've had that experience as well. People
yeah,
going ni hao to me and then start
yeah,
going and speaking
Oh my
Cantonese,
gosh.
and I'm going, yes, sorry,
yeah.
but
But Australian,
it's yeah, but that's one of those. It's one of those things that you get. It's a multicultural sort of country, and some people,
Yeah.
although it's quite multicultural and quite inclusive and sensitive about these things. There are still people, who will do things, but not maybe intentionally, but
yeah,
Right.
yeah, the
Those can't be helped.
the older
no,
ones maybe.
no,
And I
You just-
I can totally relate about the accent thing. Like I still have a hard time understanding them sometimes. And sometimes it's in the office and I feel so stupid. I'm like, sorry, what was that? What's that?
Yeah,
Sorry, come again. And then and it's not
Yeah.
just Aussie
exactly.
accents.
Yeah.
It's like Irish and all
Oh
these
yeah,
other
English.
European
Yeah.
not the
accents.
Irish.
Yeah, right. And the Scottish. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So it's
That's
just a giant struggle for you in the office then, Alex.
So, yeah, sometimes, and I think I do want to eventually try to know how to sort of get their slang a bit, just so they can understand me better as well. But it's
Right.
I try, but
Compromise.
it doesn't come easy. Maybe in time it will. Hopefully,
It-
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is in time because as if you're within that sort of environment constantly anyway,
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So let me just jump into the next question that I have for you because this is something that I also want to hear. Would you like to share any memorable moments or events during your time working there as a professional? So like in the professional aspect, like the first thing that pops into your head when I ask you to give me a memorable event. Or is it
There's one
also
for me.
mundane?
There's one
Okay.
for me. When I got assigned to work in the Middle East for 3 weeks, so I was working with ACOM at the time. So and I got assigned to help in one project in Abu Dhabi office, but I went to Dubai on a weekend just to see, the
Do
tallest
some
building there.
sightseeing.
Yeah, but the experience I've got, well, first it's different. Yeah, it's different culture when you ride a bus. The women are separated from the men. Yeah,
Mm.
like seating arrangement. But I had to go with my office mate, who was a girl. So we were like a couple. If you're a couple, you're okay to to be seated.
Mm.
But on my way back, uh, I was on my own because I think she stayed for another day.
Uh-huh.
And so when I went to the bus terminal, it was it was on a Sunday, so it's really full. There's lots of line, and I didn't know
Oh no.
where's the queue. And then there's this guy with a whip, you know. He's
Oh
got a
no.
whip, and he's got like whipping every. If you're not in the line, he's just whipping. And I got hit on my yeah. I was wearing jeans, but it still
So
hurts.
you were wet.
But it's something that you wouldn't. Yeah, I couldn't forget that because at this time there's still people doing with
Was this
Mm.
with a
was
whip.
this was this
Wow.
relatively recent?
That was 2010, I think.
Oh,
Mm.
oh,
Y-
that is pretty recent. Oh my god.
Yeah, I guess still
Yeah.
happening right now, but I guess yeah, it's their culture. But you just need to. That's im- that's the thing. When you go to a different country, you have to know their local
Yeah.
custom or laws. Even when I went to Singapore, I got a sign that you have to know. You can
Yeah,
chew,
the do's and
right?
don'ts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's another thing that you need to learn when going to another country, different culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I had
Anybody
a
else have
yeah.
any memorable moments? Yeah, Miss Marsha.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it's not entirely memorable, but sort of in line with John Ab's experience. It's the cultural aspect of it, because you're not just working with Aussies from with
Right.
British backgrounds or European background that you've got, especially in local government. You're working with Middle Eastern people, people from Vietnam, the Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, name it, India,
Yeah.
name it, they're there. And one of and you know how I'm a Filipino, I like bringing food and feeding the people and feeding the masses. I'll bring
Right.
stuff, brownies, whatever, just because we feel like it. And then because the thing is, the girls that I work with, the one's from China, one's from India, so the three of us like food. And so one day though, I actually brought food over, forgetting that it was Ramadan.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh.
Ramadan, there's a huge sort of the number of Middle Eastern people like practicing, or Islamic people basically, not just
Uh-huh.
Middle Eastern people. They're Islamic people in the office, and yeah, and they're not supposed to they do have during Ramadan they fast, so you can't really sunrise to sunset. So that you don't eat. You only eat after 5 or after sunset. And here I am walking around with my brownies over to the engineers. Because the engineers, I always bribe. It's part of the cultural thing. You don't kind of bribe them to help you with all your projects. So yeah, here you go. It's a thank you normally for me bringing brownies, but it was Ramadan, and I turn up with my brownies, and it kind of. And this time they were saying, "Oh, sorry, no, not for me, not for me," and I was surprised. And then they came back to my desk. I'm going, they're not interested in my brownies this time. And then someone said it's Ramadan, and it was like a face slap sort of moment, because how can I forget?
Yeah.
It's one of those things. How can I forget? Yeah, so it was basically the cultural sensitivity there for me went down.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
So
they were laughing at me afterwards anyway, because I told them, I
so I'm picking up
apologized.
that's a common thing. I guess not just for everyone here in this talk, but like for other in any different country really.
In
Like like cultural sensitivity really is having to be
Yes.
aware at all times. But
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's the thing in Australia. Like, it's a melting pot. There's so many cultures, and coming from the Philippines, everyone has the same culture. So you can make all kinds of jokes, and everyone will just be okay with it, and everyone
Yeah,
will
everyone will get
understand.
it.
But here, it's
Yeah.
like you really have to be so sensitive, and yeah, just being aware. But yeah, for me, I think a memorable experience was when I was coming back from my 6 month maternity leave, and I was thrusted into this project, and I felt like I had no idea what to do, and I had to make decisions and talk with the client and just get things done, and I didn't know where to start. I remember crying to my parents about it, and I ended up talking to a senior consultant on my team, and she told me that it was okay to ask for help and not to pressure myself too much. And that really stuck with me because it helped me to sort of get into a more growth oriented mindset. So that's something that I try to keep with me because I still get those moments where I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Or just kind of lost. And yeah, I just have to remember, okay, just relax. And then what's the first step? And then if there's no
Right.
first step, then yeah, just get help from whoever. Yeah.
Who knows what to do? Whoever knows what to
Yeah.
do.
Who would know?
Whoever knows what's going on around here.
Yeah, I reckon. Don't be scared to ask for help. I think
Yeah.
it's better that you do. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. Well, okay. So since we're already talking about we mentioned like some stuff that that's different from the Philippines and there over where you are. What are the things that you'd say you miss most about being in the Philippines? If
Flaming
any?
wings. Yeah, flaming wings.
Flaming
Come on.
flaming wings.
Yeah, in
How
Katapunan.
oddly specific, Alex.
Because we have it's my favorite.
Yeah, I remember because
Comfort
Alex and I
food.
were batchmates.
Yeah.
We used to go there all the time. Like during lunch or
Yeah.
she just invite everyone out to Kasipunan and everyone wanted to like just stay on campus, eat at the nearest kiosk or but Alex would be like, no, let's go to Flaming Wings. I think the first time I came there was actually because of you.
Really? Yeah.
I think so.
It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's good and it's cheap. But yeah. But
We
other
should
than
have that
food,
over here then.
yeah, maybe we could bring them here. But it's hard to bring here. But we'll see.
So food. Oh, then.
Yeah, of course, other than food, there's family and friends. And
Right.
yeah, I mentioned I haven't been able to go home since I got here. So that was like 2.5 years ago. So I guess I'm really looking forward to going back. And I'd love to do like random day trip road trips, like maybe drive up to UP Los Baños for chocolate milk, or go scuba
Oh, yeah.
diving in Anilao, go for a walk around UP Diliman, and yeah, just spend time with family and friends. So other than food, there's family and friends, second place.
No, you had to say that.
Are second to you.
Flaming wings first, and then
And
You
then
have your
family.
priorities
and then
right.
okay, mom, I'll see you now.
Priorities. That's right.
Yeah. How about the others? Anything that you miss most about the Philippines or being in the Philippines, or do you just generally like it better there? It's okay. You can be honest. This is a casual talk show.
I don't know, Joe. How are you?
It's probably the same.
Jojo's just like,
No, it's the same.
Nothing really.
It's food, family, and friends. But I just remember, because in the Philippines, if you bring your lunch, right, and then you heat it in your microwave, no one's gonna. Yeah,
No, it's good.
especially
Fine.
I tried bringing adobo in the office and heating it in the microwave, and you know how it will smell. I mean, for
Everyone's gonna
us,
want
the
some
smell of
adobo.
adobo is okay, but for them, it's like, oh, what's that smell?
Oh, right.
So things like that. Yeah. So I
the
tried not to bring
comfort.
food. Yeah, I tried to, just eat. Yeah,
So again,
sandwich.
we circle back to having to be like aware of other people around us.
Yeah.
How about you, Miss Marsha? Anything that you miss because you've been there for the longest time? Is there anything at all you miss about the Philippines?
Well, of course, I'll say family and friends. just because
Okay,
I'm
we are banning
supposed
that
to.
answer.
Just yeah, yeah. Well, the food, yeah, food. What
What
else?
specific food or just Filipino food?
Oh, it's actually like like chicken in a sal and
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
the soup from Iloilo. Those sort of things. The
Yeah.
local cuisine.
Right,
Just
right.
yeah, because when you're there, you can just hop onto go to
Carinderia.
Mm.
Yeah.
you
Mm.
get go to different towns and you get all
Mm.
the local cuisine and you get you go to vegan. I mean, so going to vegan and eating the food there, their sausages and their wraps, that sort of thing, or going to
Mm.
Baguio and
Yeah.
um,
I miss
yeah, getting the
Rodix.
locals.
Rodix.
Rodix.
Yeah, Rodix.
How can you put Rodix in there? Let's just but yeah, it is. It's the local cuisine that you
Yeah.
don't have. We don't have access to that. I suppose you
Yeah.
try and make it, but it's not the same.
Right. Like the
There,
ingredients aren't the same.
No, and then
Mm.
and yeah, it's just the way people do it. Yeah, so
Right.
yeah.
Well, are there? I mean, I'm sure there are like maybe like Filipino restaurants or
Yeah.
groceries.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
though, isn't it, Joe? I don't know
No,
in your
there's
area. It's not
no, there's
There are
much.
a
not
couple.
in my area.
I'll
There's
recommend
one.
some to you,
Oh yeah,
Marsha.
Oh, okay.
we've
I was
been
thinking
there.
There you
Bayside.
go. There
Alex,
you
you've been there,
go.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we've
I
been
think
can't
there.
there's some in
remember.
Bayside.
Yeah, there are a couple that aren't too far from where we are. So I
Oh,
can't
okay.
Yeah.
remember the names now, but
Is it
I'll message them to you
Inigos?
later. There's Inigos. Yeah,
Inigos, right?
I
Inigos.
actually,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we craved for Filipino food recently. So their sisig is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah.
have kare kare that's also really
Yeah.
yummy.
Ooh.
Oh.
So yeah,
There's
they
also
Now,
one in
now,
satisfy.
Chatswood. There's one in
Mm,
Chatswood,
Mm.
and there used to be one in the CBD, but they closed down.
mm.
Um, but yeah, there's a
Yeah.
few.
There are a
I think
couple.
that there's a lot in the west area. Yeah,
Oh,
Mm,
yeah,
in
which is
Blacktown, and yeah,
yeah, well, that's
of
an
course, yeah,
hour away from us. So
oh yeah,
yeah,
mm,
it's
oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm traveling like
so in
you
your
yeah.
probably have
area,
to.
not too many
Not too
No,
Filipino
many.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
restaurants.
not
two or
so
Not that
three.
famous.
many.
Mm,
There's
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of Japanese and Thai
Thai,
food.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Thai
mm,
Thai.
food,
Yeah,
Vietnamese as
Oh, I
well.
think
Lots
that's
of
Vietnamese.
pretty
Yeah,
common
Vietnamese
everywhere.
food. Yeah, but
Like we
it
have a
is.
lot of Japanese food everywhere.
true. Just because
Yeah.
it's just
Oh,
really good.
Yeah,
yeah.
Japanese,
that's true.
yeah,
So
yeah.
for
Japanese.
all the viewers who are watching, just hit Alex up if you need recommendations for Filipino restaurants in
Yes.
Australia.
Can you
In
type it in
Sydney.
the private chat? So
Yeah, like type it all down.
correct.
Although for the
Email.
Filipinos who don't live here, I doubt they'll come to Sydney for Filipino food.
Oh, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, yeah.
They might like
Yeah,
Promotion.
just be
you know,
there and crave for
and
Filipino food.
yeah, I can't
when
cook
Vic was
Filipino
here,
food, so
when
oh.
Vic when they were here, I
Yeah.
actually brought him to a Filipino restaurant in the city.
Oh, and
La
what did he think
Mesa.
of? What did he think about it?
Well, I don't know, but it's good. That place was good, but yeah, it
Mm,
closed down.
mm.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so I think we still have time for like maybe two last questions, and we could just go about it quickly so we can wrap up. Because this is something that I actually really want to ask. Also, like I'm very curious to know something that Filipinos most likely do not know about Australia. I mean, just like right now, I'm finding out there aren't that many
Yeah.
Filipino restaurants out there. So, like, is there anything else that you could share with, those of us not living there that we may not know about Australia or, about anything really, living there, the
When
culture?
so when I applied here, the thing they always say is that Australia is a racist country, right? You always
Mm.
hear that there's a lot of racist here, but I actually when I moved here, I haven't had any experience. They're actually
Mm.
friendly. When you walk on the street, they'll actually smile or say,
Mm.
how are you? Sometimes when someone say hi or smile at me, I would think, have I met that person before? Because we're not used to that. In
Mm.
the
Yeah,
Philippines,
yeah.
we just pass. but here they're actually, yeah, they'll smile at you. They say hi, how are you, good morning, some things like that. So, and they're very polite as well. Like when you get off a bus, they always say, thank you, driver," things like that.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're, and yeah, and there's, it's not tolerated here, racism
Mm.
Mm.
You can
anywhere.
report those things, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's
and
Yeah.
interesting.
there's actually legislation here in the act about equal opportunity, so you're protected
Mm.
from being discriminated, based on your race or religion
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
or uh, uh, even your
Mm.
gender or sexual
Mm.
Right.
orientation. So
Mm.
they won't do that, especially in work uh,
Yeah. Environment.
environment. But so
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because
But
Yeah.
in local government, in councils, they actually do training for that. So
yeah, they
they
actually
Mm.
do
constantly
that.
do
oh.
Yeah,
training to remind everyone, to be
yeah,
sensitive about, whether you're a migrant or a non-migrant. So
Mm.
yeah.
it's
Right.
yeah.
But what about for landscape architecture specifically? Like is there anything maybe different or like anything special about, practicing landscape architecture there as compared to here in the Philippines?
I'll let
Anything
Jojo and
pops in
Marsha answer that.
The,
From
Well,
the
no. You
first
can also share for your
well,
profession,
from
Alex.
so I don't deep delve into landscape architecture, but from what I see, like when I review landscape architecture plans, for me it looks like something a Filipino landscape architect could have done, or something that could have been done in a Filipino studio. So I don't
Oh,
notice anything different. I don't know, Jojo, Marsha, what
uh
your experiences are like.
the difference that I noticed when I first practiced here is, in the Philippines, it's more like just design. Like when you're given like a plan, you could start just, start drawing, design. There's not much storytelling or report, and also like the process here where you have to like to issue like a DA drawings or development application to council, and Marcia would know that better because she works at council, but it's different. There's, and your report writing as well to go with your drawings. From my experience, like with IP Santos, they're all like, drawings, just submit a plan, things like that. Here you have to come up with, company it with a report that, tells background, for your design intending. I think
mm-hmm.
you're doing it right now in the process, but during my time there, it's more like, yeah, just straight design.
Just
So
design. Yeah.
yeah, I have to learn how to do some reporting here, which
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'd say it's
I'm not used to.
more like systematic or more with intent as compared to your time here. Did I understand that correctly?
No, it's
I
just that,
think yeah.
yeah, maybe Marcia, because she works in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
council, so she probably
Yeah.
can answer what's the requirement.
Where I think it's just because it's more competitive over here in
Mm.
terms of there's a lot of landscape architectural firms and and individual practices as well. So yeah, it's quite competitive. So yeah, companies sort of consultant companies or private companies like Jojo's been, they have to sell themselves. They have to, and
Right.
that's what the report is, the presentations, and all that
Sure.
sort of stuff. You have to sell yourself because then, so because with council, although we have internal landscape architects, sometimes there are sort of it might be necessary to hire outside consultants or outside designers, landscape architects or whatever,
Right.
just to sort of fill in sort of the workload. And there might be sort of a huge, there's always a huge workload. So it's to fill in those gaps, or if there's a special project that's, from funded by the state government or a special council, councillors project, which is political. Yes, we do. So we find it necessary sometimes to get help outside. So external consultants, yeah, we go for them, and then we normally it goes through a quotation process, so like a tender. So we invite them, for companies like ACOM and whoever you work with, job, too many of them. We kind of ask them to put out a tender, request for quotation. They'd come in, put in all those reports and presentations and all that sort of stuff to sell. Basically, you sell. So a company has to sell themselves to local government and state government as well, and federal, to actually be able to go and get that job, that design job. So it's quite competitive. So, and it's the same for us internally as well in local government, that for your project, if you have a project that you want to get funded, then you have to write a report, you do your investigation, do your presentation, because a lot of that, the sort of in local government, a lot of that sort of connects with the community, and in a way as well with private practice, is because it always goes to consultation. So I think that's one of the differences. You can take that on in here. There's always a consultation. You always involve the community in all the projects, because if they're not happy, your project's not going to happen, or it's going to get delayed. So it is. There's always.
So it's more. So it takes more of like a more of a collaborative project, really, where we involve the community in your design.
It's very sensitive to that you need to have the community's consent or approval. Otherwise, because over here they're quite vocal, and they're very so we call it they're quite vocal about what's happening around them.
But I think that's great, though, right? I mean,
but
you wanna say stuff works for everyone in the community, so.
Well, it is. So that's why you have to be thorough about what you're doing. You have to present it to eventually to the community, and get their approval and make them happy, basically, because they're the ones. Eventually, they're the ones that are going to use the park or use the facility, or have you public domain. They're the ones that are going to be using it and be involved or be in it. So it is.
All right. Thank you so much. So you guys, just one last question for you guys. We can do it real quickly. Could you give any advice to landscape architects who find themselves in the middle of moving to a new environment or moving their practice somewhere else? What advice would you have for them? All right. Who do I pick?
I think working in a new environment will give you a lot of unique experiences and lessons that you won't learn staying within your comfort zone. So always challenge yourself, be humble, learn from and respect other people and other cultures, and of course enjoy the experience.
Thank you, Alex.
I think I mentioned it earlier. Learn if you're planning to move to a country, you have to learn and respect their local culture, their custom, their laws, and if you're joining a company, you should at least research on the type of projects they're working on, and and ask someone. I think like when Alex was planning to move, she actually asked me for some advice. I don't know what I gave her, but but things like that. Just reach out. I mean, I haven't met Alex before, just through Facebook, but don't be shy to reach out, because could
now
help
Jojo's one of my go-to people. So because there aren't a lot of Filipinos here, so it's like the connections that you make are really valuable. And so I think that's a good point, Jojo.
How about you, Marsha? Any advice that you can give?
Oh God, advice! Get your pencils out. If you do plan, so if you're planning to come over to another country, or you're already here and you're sort of searching for yourself, I would say one is sort of be familiar with the local standards, the
True.
in terms of like a disability, those sort of things, construction standards. Be familiar with those. Try to be familiar with environmental law in that country, because that sort of affects a lot of the things that landscape architects would do, not just in Australia, everywhere else. Be familiar with the new trends in terms of innovation, so like water sustainability, smart city, those sort of new things. So just be familiar with those. The other thing is to be familiar as well, or look out and research the planning policies in that country, and because it's just like the environmental sort of policies as well. It does affect what you do as a landscape architect, and do the whole network. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to actually try a network, find your network, and sort of. Tap into that network, because we're always we're always happy to help. So we're
I figure.
we won't steer you away. So so hopefully that helps.
Thank you, everybody. I'm sure it'll be helpful. I know a lot of people out there looking to explore their opportunities elsewhere. So I hope that they did catch some great insights from us today. Especially, with the experiences that you shared during your time there abroad. So, thank you so much, everybody. Is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap it all up?
No.
Nothing,
Thank you.
nothing.
Thank you, Say.
Thanks for inviting us. Yeah.
Thank you
Haven't
so
we
much,
shared
guys.
enough?
No, I'm like, as someone who has lived in the Philippines for the longest time, it's actually very interesting for me, to be hearing these stories about you guys living abroad, because it's something that I also wanted to do at some point in my life.
Yeah, I think
move
like
on.
whether it's permanent or temporary, people should explore trying to work abroad,
Yeah.
because you really learn so much. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and then it's very interesting, to hear these stories from people who actually have gone through those experiences, right? So, again, thank you so much, Alex, Jojo, and Marsha, for joining us for PALAKwento today, and
Thank you, Say.
giving your time. I'm sure it's about dinner time where you are, so
Yes.
we're so sorry. We're not gonna keep you any longer. Thank you again. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you,
Thank
Say.
Thanks for
you.
inviting us.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody. Thank you so much. All right. So again, I'm not gonna keep you guys for long. Thank you for everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of PALAKwento.